And we are live. Hello, everybody, and we are back to another Unlimited Intelligence with the true son of New American Revolution, LarryCJohnson. Larry, how are you doing?
I'm here. I'm of limited intelligence.
Yeah, there's already a program in Brazil called Limited Intelligence, so I had to.
Oh, really? Oh, we got a copyright violation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Larry, voting week. How are you doing? You told me that you already voted? This is very funny for me. I don't understand the system. Can you briefly explain to me how it works?
Well, different states have different rules as far as how early they start the voting. So here in Florida, I live in Manatee County. They allowed early voting to start, I want to say 3 weeks ago, but then it was set up 4 or 5 locations throughout the county. So normally there would be, a polling station in a neighborhood, but these were like regional centers. So people could go there and they could vote. It was open from 8 in the morning to 6 at night.
No.
And then they were busy. At least I live in Manatee County. They were busy every day over the last 3 weeks. So a lot of people voted. We'll see what happens today in the country and different places. Trump should win. The numbers are in his favor. Several ones. Number one, there's this. Let's call it the shy effect. Normally, Mr. Wild would say, "Hey, Marcelo, are you in favor of Kamala or Donald?" Well, because there's so much stigma by the public media attached to voting for Donald Trump or supporting him, a lot of people say nay or they lie. Mm-hmm. And they end up understating what the real support for Trump is. And the effect of the crazies on the Democrat side of the House is there are more crazies there than there are on the MAGA or Republican side of the House. There's just a video that surfaced yesterday from Alexandria, Virginia, I used to live up in Bethesda, Maryland, just across the river. And this black woman is she's got a Trump MAGA hat on. And this crazed white woman starts yelling at her. I mean, you're stupid. Imagine that, a white person calling a black person stupid. Not racist there, huh?
No, not at all.
And, the RFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. effect. You got the Tulsi Gabbard effect. You got the Joe Rogan effect. So Trump has reached out to a level that wasn't seen in 2020. In 2020, he was basically all about rallies. Mm-hmm. He continued to do the rallies, but then on top of it, he's sad enough to be aware of how the social media scene has changed. So you go back to 2015, 2016. That was when sort of cable news and the legacy media, the establishment media stations, particularly New York Times, Washington Post on the print side, and ABC, CBS, NBC on the television side. And, the radio stations like WABC, that really dominated sort of the media. The internet was there, but social media wasn't taking control. Well, back then, Trump used that effectively. In 2020, all of that established media turned against him. All of a sudden, he's a bad guy. But he shifted his strategy to the rallies. And I think there's still credible evidence that he won that election. But, it's water under the bridge now, whether he did or didn't. So going into this election, you've got the sort of establishment, the political establishment on both sides are still tied to cable news and putting advertisements on cable news and conventional television. And from my experience, most people who are under the age of 40, they're not watching those shows at all. They're on the internet. They're on TikTok. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. They're watching. Joe Rogan has 18 million subscribers or more.
And he has multiple platforms. It's even hard to say how many actually.
Yeah. So he's not restricted to just one. So he's got quite a media reach. The same for Tucker. If you ask somebody, hey, tell me what is a great leftist, politically liberal channel on social media. Maybe the Young Turks is the only one I can come up with, and there's, there are maybe 3 million tops. My point is that on the social media front, the MAGA voices, the Trump voices, what were classified as conservative voices, dominate. Utter domination. Just like it was when it was Rush Limbaugh on the radio. Remember back then they tried to, put up like Radio Pacifica. They tried to launch some left. Hey, let's put our message out. People to, and they didn't. People didn't like it because number one, these ultra liberal folks tend to be careless. They tend to take themselves too goddamn seriously, and they are completely incapable of making fun of themselves normally. Yeah. So, when you put all that together, the media environment actually favors Trump. And then, I think we got some early indicators that they knew Kamala and crew were in trouble. One, when she skipped the Al Smith dinner in New York, Trump showed up there, was very funny, very gracious, complimentary of both the governor of New York and the mayor of New York City, which, within the past, they'd say that they were, enemies. Mm-hmm. But then on top of that, then Saturday Night Live started doing opening skits that were basically making fun of Kamala. And so that was unheard of, because in the past they wouldn't make fun of Joe Biden at all. Then they started over the last 4 weeks. They started.
And that's easy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's comedy gold what they're doing. Now they did have Kamala. Basically, she plagiarized that they did with Trump. But Saturday Night violated the FEC regulations, and if they're going to have Kamala on, they got to have Donald Trump on. They can't just have one and not the other. Trump, by the way, did the Joe Rogan Experience, a 3-hour marathon, and came across as very personable, very relaxed, and very approachable. And Joe Rogan endorsed him for president. Mm-hmm. Not that that's going to necessarily change anybody's mind one way or another, but it's still, important. So, I think all of the momentum, despite the Democrat Party's efforts to portray Trump as Adolf Hitler and Joseph Stalin, say Adolf Hitler, Adolf Hitler, over and over and over. And what they're doing is to keep accusing Trump of what the Democrats are doing. Mm-hmm. They accuse Trump of being a threat to democracy when the ones who are trying to suppress free speech are the Democrats. The thing sort of kicked up in the last few days that I think is really, it has damaged the Democrats to an extent, is the governor of New York sent a SWAT team into a home in New York, in upper state New York, to take a pet squirrel and kill it.
Holy crap.
Just, oh yeah. Yeah. And, I mean, there are videos of this couple. They do animal rescue, and they'd rescued this as a baby squirrel. His mother got killed or something. So they raised it from a baby, and they've had it, 6, 7 years. So the thing was like a damn cat, it'd crawl up on his shoulders, and, it was very, very domesticated. And the state decided that, oh no, it was too dangerous. And they went in and grabbed it, and they sent a SWAT team in and killed it. That has, they've been arresting grandmothers and putting them in prison. That hasn't evoked outrage. Killed that little squirrel, buddy. It's pissed a lot of people off. So we'll see what happens on that front. It's gonna be interesting tonight. If I'm not, I don't want to say I'm not an avid Trump supporter. I think Trump is. He doesn't have the kind of intellectual depth. He's not. I'm not saying he's not smart. He's very smart, and he's very got good instincts. But he's not really a reader and student of history, and he's not a great strategic thinker. But boy, he is a speculative tissue. But that said, at heart, he's not a warmonger, even though he'll talk like that at times, even though he'll make threats, I'll drop the bomb. His instinct is more towards negotiating peace.
He's a businessman.
And that's what I think we need, because, he's going to make a deal. He'll take out a very tough position at the outset, but he'll back away from that. He is actually not a blind idiot. Kamala Harris is, and on top of it, she's incompetent. Just basically incompetent. There is no moral center to her. And if she somehow prevails in this election, America is screwed and the world is screwed, because there will be no adult in charge to us going to war. And right now we're on the cusp of global. Or with China, one of those is going to get touched off unless somebody comes in from a diplomatic standpoint and say, okay, we're going to calm down, we're going to step back. We're not going to continue going down this road.
Yeah, you mentioned this situation on how they learn how to use social media. Well, I actually believe I seen the Trump team being very successful in social media and all that for a couple of times. In Brazil, we had Bolsonaro election. The time he was elected. It was basically his sons that he claimed were the responsible. They were trained by the Trump team of social media marketing and all that. Sometimes I just say, you mentioned this situation of the lady screaming on the face of the other one with MAGA hat. There was even a worse one with a blonde lady screaming in the face of a baby. Of a child.
Yeah.
Do you see that? That one was scary.
Yeah.
What the hell is wrong with the American Karens?
That's she's a Democrat operative.
Yeah.
I mean, she held a position in charge of the Democrat Party in that particular county where it's located.
See, so and it's very weird, and you talk about the comedy thing. Just this week, something happened that I was like, oh, Trump did something that he should have not done, which was the joke that the comedian did on the rally.
Well, it wasn't Trump. It was some comedian that came out early and he made a joke about Puerto Rico.
Exactly. And it was. I myself, I found it funny. Okay, I don't blame it was a bad moment, But the joke, if instead of Puerto Rico, if he had used England, for example, would it be funny? Yes. So the joke was good. But
yeah, I didn't hear the joke. All I heard was the punchline.
The punchline, exactly.
I like humor as much as anyone. I'm just not sure what the setup was to come out and call Chicago garbage.
Yeah, exactly. But when I saw that, I was inappropriate. That's going to be bad for Trump. But then I think I saw exactly what Putin always talk about Biden. He's predictable. What he did was predictable. He just trashed the supporters of Trump, called them trash, and then Trump went out with the trash truck. I mean,
well, no, Biden called them garbage.
Garbage, yes, exactly.
Precise term was garbage, basura, and then Trump showed up in a garbage truck. Now, remember the timing. Biden made that speech at the very same time that Kamala Harris was supposed to be delivering her final wrap-up speech for the campaign. And instead of people focusing on Kamala, they were focused upon what Biden said, which some would accuse that Biden was deliberately sabotaging Kamala, which may be true.
Yeah. Well, he was wearing the MAGA hat the other day.
No, when he wore the MAGA hat and wouldn't take it off.
Yeah. Well, that thing I just think is, senior things. But in any case, when I saw the Trump driving the truck, I was like, that was planned. They knew that the Democrats, Biden or whoever, would come out with this, aggression on Trump supporters, and it was predictable. I saw predictability on the moves from Trump. It was interesting to watch that. It was different from just a bad joke on a bad time.
Well, it showed agility. I mean, they were able to move quickly to put that together. And just like when they, went in to put Trump to work at a McDonald's.
Yeah.
That drove the Democrats crazy too. And then they put out the word that Trump wanted to take Liz Cheney out, line her up, and have her firing squad shoot her. Mm-hmm. Now, personally, from my own opinion, I'd be quite happy if he had said that. I buy Cheney. She's loathsome. But that's not what he said. He was accusing her of being a child. And one of the people who likes to talk tough and start wars, but by God, she's going to be the last one to go, just like her father. Her father, Dick Cheney, was, he loved to talk about war, but he didn't. The only thing he wanted at war was sit on his ass and make money while serving at Halliburton and raking in some Department of Defense contracts. That whole the Cheneys exemplify what's wrong with America. They've become this wealthy political class by virtue of connections, not by virtue of their ideas, not by virtue of their hard work, but by virtue of playing the game. Figure out that needed to be kissing the right ass.
Yeah, I had a very interesting talk in the channel with someone that watches the channel. It was so interesting because it was just a follower and talking, and I said, "Dude, come on, let's have a talk." And it was very interesting, the talk that I had with this guy. He mentioned something that I think it's very important. And that's what I think, I'm not going to say just the United States, but the Western society kind of lost, which is purpose. Purpose for technology, purpose for money, for wealth, for everything. At some point, it had purpose. When you watch what Europe built up with social wealth for the Europeans, what the United States built up for social, it was war money and World War II, a lot of money coming into the United States, but there was a purpose. And I just don't see this anymore. As you said, the purpose now is just fill up the bank accounts of these guys, of this handful of people.
Yeah. Control. Controls. Steer contracts to your buddies. By the way, a newsflash just came across the screen. Netanyahu has fired Yoav Gallant, Israel's defense minister.
All right. So let's move from U.S. elections. We still don't have the results. One last thing that I wanted to ask about this. I've seen a title of, it was the New Yorker that came out with this title, United States in the Brink of the Second Civil War. We talked about this a couple of times in the channel already, Larry. How do you see the development of this election coming out?
Well, it depends on the scenario. If Trump wins and also the Republicans take control of the Senate and House, then I think you're going to actually see some pretty dramatic turnarounds in Washington, D.C. That would be good because it's not going to be conventional rhino time. The rhinos may be a little upset; their nose will be out of joint. But when you got RFK Jr. working as sort of a health czar, Elon Musk working as an efficiency czar, maybe Tulsi Gabbard serving as Secretary of Defense, or potentially Secretary of State. She is, I think, a remarkable person. That's going to shake things up. It's not going to be business as usual. If Trump wins and the Democrats control the Senate and the House, well, then they'll be impeaching Trump right off the bat, and the United States will be torn. It'll be torn in chaos, and at that point, you're going to see a growing move that states that will stop cooperating with the federal government on a variety of issues. And the irony is, a lot of it's going to be what was the former Confederacy. North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Florida, Oklahoma. But as far as a Confederate army, a rebellious army rising up to fight the United States, I don't see that. The other problem they've got is that a lot of the people that fill the ranks of the military do come out of these conservative communities, and they're not likely to want to go shoot their own. So, but what it will portend is some significant chaos within the United States.
And what if the other way happened? The Democrats, let's at least consider the possibility.
No. If the Democrats taking the presidency as well as the House and Senate, you're going to see an economic crisis in this country, and the likelihood that we'll get embroiled message and no degree of confidence. The problem with Kamala, she's not going to. Let me give you a nightmare scenario: that she names Liz Cheney as Secretary of Defense. Okay, that she names Victoria Nuland as Secretary of State.
Who, by the way, just got a new job on the NAD, right?
I don't know. I don't know. I know she was a secure sinecure at Columbia University, but maybe they put her on the board of any National Endowment for Democracy. Wouldn't surprise me. So,
yeah, things are interesting. Let's keep our eyes on it and wait for the results. Let's move to Israel. I've been a bit puzzled these days because things looks very quiet on the region. I am unsure if they are trying to wait for the results of the elections and then change the strategy accordingly, or if Iran last move was a good deal, was a kind of we already talked about this. It was a very impactant thing, and now you just came out with this breaking news. Breaking news, everybody!
Yeah. So with I'm just reading the announcement. So Gallant and Netanyahu have been at odds, but they've moving again. This kind of shift in the midst of a war is not a good sign. It's not a sign that the war is going as Israel claimed as planned. And you've had a number of developments this week that further hide the chaos that's unfolding and increasing within the Israeli government or the Zionist government. First, you've had the arrest of at least 5 people, all of them connected to Bibi Netanyahu, all of them working in his government. One of them is a sort of an informal press spokesman, and that they were leaking intelligence regarding the hostage negotiations and other things in order to shape a narrative that Netanyahu was using to try to build political support for himself. So it was complete abuse of intelligence. Shin Bet was doing the investigation. Netanyahu now is attacking the attorney general who's brought these charges as being a political partisan. So he's in trouble when he's doing that. So then getting rid of Gallant right now, I think Gallant is going to come out strongly against Netanyahu. But replacing Gallant doesn't change Israel's military or security policy. They're going to continue to try to destroy the Palestinians. And that's what it's about. It's about Palestinian genocide.
That was my question regarding Gallant. So despite, of course, how was Gallant's position on this? Because I remember talking about this with you and with several people that Netanyahu perhaps is not the only problem. Of course, everybody pictures on him, but everyone behind him is also a big problem concerning the situation in Palestine. So that would be my question. So Gallant and Netanyahu was not in good odds, yet they had the same view on Palestine genocide and all that, and whoever comes after him.
I think Gallant, if Gallant had his way, they would not have sent the Israeli forces into southern Lebanon. I think Gallant correctly recognized that was a morass, a trap for Israel. And sure enough, what has happened is, the Israelis are bombing the hell out of Lebanese civilians, Lebanese towns. They're killing Christians, killing Muslims. But they're not being rocket attacks from Hezbollah. There have been articles that have appeared just this last week in I think Haaretz, reporting on the fact, or I guess it was also Times of Israel, that the assessment now is that they've actually killed fewer Hamas fighters, and that they estimate at least 50% of Hamas still intact. Well, that's after 13 months of war, after a time where Israel has complete control of the perimeter of this, really the largest prison camp in the world, and have total control of the air, able to drop bombs at will whenever they want. And yet, with all of that, they can't stop Hamas from carrying out ambushes and killing Israeli occupation forces. The IOF, as I think this should be called.
I call it ITF.
So
I think we
can. That. Well, I was just going to finish saying that's a real problem for Israel. This mythology of the greatest, most powerful military in the world, and they still haven't been able to quell or contain Hamas, who is not and never was considered to be a competent military force. They were a guerrilla force. Mm-hmm. The operation they carried out a year ago on October 7th was remarkable in terms of its sophistication, because it was a genuine military raid that succeeded. Mm-hmm. But now Israel's caught in that morass, and that's where I think that was one of the issues with Gallant. The other is this insistence among the these ultra-religious Zionists who want to attack and destroy Iran. I think Gallant also on that front was, wanting Israel to be a little more careful. He recognizes, I think, that Israel cannot defeat Iran and cannot prevent Iran striking.
So he was also some, crazy messianic person, but a bit realistic. That, we better not go that far. Let's focus on this genocide and leave the other ones aside. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, they are facing a forefront war right now. It's starting to get tight for them. It's
five.
Yeah.
So you got Gaza, West Bank, Southern Lebanon, Iran, and the Houthis. That's 5.
There's still the Iraqis to come in to the party.
Yeah, the Iraqis get involved. The Syrians get involved. I said, Israel's not set up to fight a war of attrition, which is what it's fighting now. It does not have the physical resources in terms of men. It doesn't have resources. Its economy was very dependent upon foreign tourism. People to do Bible. They're not coming to do the Bible thing these days in light of what's going on with this war. And a lot of Israelis are bugging out. At least 1 million have left the country over the last year and may not be coming back.
That's what, 10%, 5% of the population? How much is Israel? 15, 20 million?
Yeah, that's more. No, Israel's population total is 8 million. So you're looking at about 12. Yeah, so you're looking at about 12, 13% of the population is disappeared.
Yeah, not good for economics. Not good for economics at all. Yeah. So let's wait to see. We had the promise of another Iran response to Israel that we're still waiting for it. From what I've been reading, supposedly,
No, I was just going to say the word I'd been hopeful initially that given the failure of Israel's attack on was what was it, October 29th, 28th, whatever the day of Israel's attack, that because it didn't succeed, despite Israel's claim that it was a smashing success and they destroyed all of Iran's air defense, it was nothing but lies. That Iran would have said, okay, we'll take the victory and we won't escalate. 4 soldiers were killed. 1 civilian was killed, and the Iranian sense have said, no, they're going to respond. Now, they may respond by simply attacking and destroying some Israeli air defense systems. And one of the dangers in that is if they attack the THAADs, apparently 3 of these THAAD systems now deployed, those are manned by Americans. They could well end up killing some Americans. Mm-hmm. But, it does look like they're going to respond. I think they delayed their response until the American election, or they want to, create any distraction from outside that could be be used to either rally support for one side or the other. They want this to be focused on Israel. Iran's been going around making the diplomatic case that it has an right under the UN Charter to retaliate for what Israel did. And at the same time, I believe that Russia and China both are working behind the scenes diplomatically to try to persuade Iran not to go too far and to be judicious in its response. So we'll see.
Yeah. I thought myself as well that they are going to get the double victory, hitting Israel and not being hit by Israel. We have a double. So paraphrase, we beat you. But then at the same time, concerning what Israel insists to do on the Palestine and Lebanon, I think they come to that's my view of things. They come to a view that they say, okay, this didn't hold them. Let's show more strength. And let's see what's not good. I just hope this they can come to all of them can come to senses.
Well, no, they're not. They're not going to come to their senses. Let's be clear. This, the part of this removal of Gallant. In Israel, you've got these ultra-Orthodox Jews. They're called the Haredi. And the Haredi do not believe in Zionism. In fact, they believe that Israel is an abomination. They actually will march in support of Hamas, at least in the United States. Well, Gallant was insisting that, hey, they're Jews, they live here in Israel, they need to sign up for the draft just like everybody else. They need to serve in the military. Netanyahu and the religious crazies, the Ben Gavirs, the Smotriches, they want to leave the Haredi out. They don't want to force them into military service. So by getting rid of Gallant, this makes it easier for Netanyahu to continue his efforts to exempt the Haredi from being brought into the Israeli army.
And I don't understand what that means. Completely.
What means?
Of keeping the Hareris out of the army. What would that make a difference?
Haredi.
Yeah,
Haredi. Haredi. Haredi.
What would that mean?
Well, it's a matter of fairness.
Okay.
If you're a Jew, if you're 18 to 24 years of age, you're required to show up in the military. These guys claim, no, because we're extra holy, extra special, we don't have to do that. And Gallant was saying, they do. The more secular, Gallant's more secular than religious. But the Netanyahu has been, he sees the Haredi as actually being able to provide him some political support. And so he didn't want to force them to the army. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. I was missing the sense on that one. Good. Larry,
yeah.
So just to finish this, we had this week the ultimate proof that North Korea has sent troops to Ukraine. And I just put it on the screen.
Yeah, led by... Yeah,
you don't see there, but it's on the screen. I just put it on the screen. That's
okay. So led by Jackie Chan. Last I checked, Jackie Chan, not Korean, Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that is. It's just one more example of the field of lies that is populating and springing up all over Ukraine, all over Israel. And so the big lie here is create the perception that the North Koreans are, quote, in Russia fighting Ukraine, which is like, so people ignore the people that are getting upset about this demonstrate their ignorance, because Russia has had a military relationship with North Korea that goes back at least 75 years. And so the idea of North Koreans training in Russia, that's like getting surprised that the sun rises in the east. Oh my God, look at that. Something new and yellow in the sky. This is completely intended. I believe this was a CIA information operation designed to create a justification, bring South Korean pilots to fly F-16s on behalf of the government of Ukraine. That's all this. And as well as to try to serve it at, maybe create another pretext to get NATO involved in the war. They're always saying, how dare Russia bring North Koreans into Russia to trail? Meanwhile, U.S. soldiers, Polish soldiers, German soldiers, French soldiers, British soldiers, Colombian soldiers, Venezuelan soldiers,
Brazilian,
on the ground in Ukraine and in Russia fighting Russians. That's okay. So this, not only is this hypocrisy on a staggering level, but it's the Ghost of Kiev story, a manufactured lie designed to try to achieve a political outcome.
I find very, very interesting that even the Russians play along with this, just saying, well, we have an aggression agreement. So we were invaded by Ukraine. If they came, they have the right to do so. And you just mentioned a couple of countries there, and I even mentioned Brazilian soldiers, that every now and then we receive the news of some Brazilian soldiers getting killed in Ukraine. Well, many of those countries are not even part of NATO. And most interestingly, Ukraine is not part of NATO. So there is not even the NATO, Article 5 kind of thing that, we are going to send troops there because they were invaded. Well, they're not part of NATO, so.
Well, Ukraine was a de facto member of NATO. It was not formally brought into NATO, but NATO had spent the last 20 years conducting annual military exercises, multiple military exercises with them. They were using the base Yavoriv in western Ukraine as sort of de facto NATO base. And so, this is the plan all along was to use Ukraine as a leverage to weaken and destroy Russia. That was the hope. It failed, but that was the plan.
Yeah, Larry, I think I covered more or less everything I wanted. Oh yeah, there's also the Kiev guy asking for tomahawks. That was. Did you?
Yeah.
That.
With Zelensky's wanting to have nuclear capable missiles. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Why not?
And then trying to shame Washington and Zelensky. I don't know if you've seen some of the pictures of him lately. Man, he's looking like Al Pacino did at the end of Scarface. Pretty ragged and stressed out. Too much cocaine.
If that's all.
Demasiado cocaine.
If that's the only thing there, he's starting to look, the teeth starting to doing like that. I don't know. He's not.
Yeah, no, he's. He'll be lucky to survive January 1st.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I've been saying this. I don't think he should worry about Russia, nor the three-letter agencies. He's not going to make it by himself.
Well, when you look at what Russia's accomplishing on the ground, Times been the other day, and this captured territory is going up like this. They're now. They were going from 4 months ago, capturing 40 kilometers, 40 square kilometers in a month to doing 150 square kilometers in a month. It's really, it's remarkable.
Yeah. Larry, thank you very much. I just had a comment from someone from my channel, Julio Cesar, who said that always follow you on Nima's channel as well. Well, you have, Julio, you have all the links for LarryJohnson's on the description, and follow him mainly on sonar21.com. That's where he posts his own articles. That's a great outlet for reading stuff, and very amusing as well. Always fun. Larry, thank you very much again. Let's hope for the best and prepare for the worst.
We'll see what today brings.
Yeah, and I'll see you next week. So thank you very much.
Okay, muito obrigado.
Tchau, tchau.